New information on the effects of bullying on children. It may be worse than some thought. A new study reveals that, in fact, it may be a public health problem. Joining us now is Dr. Chuck Williams, educational psychologist and director of graduate studies at Lincoln University. Thanks for joining us. So the study found that 1 in 3 kids is bullied by age 16, and those who are bullied are more likely to later suffer from anxiety, depression, or suicidal tendencies than those who were abused or neglected by adults. What do you make of that?
Right. 3 quick important points, and you mentioned some of them. The first is, when you talk about 1 in 3 kids being bullied, that represents kids in 38 countries. So that means all over the world, bullying is a problem that's affecting children. The second thing is that this new study shows that 40% of kids who are abused in the homes are also victims of bullying, so there's a relationship between the two of those. And the third thing, which you mentioned, which I think is most important, is this, and that is bullying can be more damaging psychologically than being mistreated or abused by your own parents.
Yeah, and the study says that support might be one reason. They say that victims of parental abuse or neglect are supported by others. They're told it's not your fault and it's taken very seriously, whereas bully victims are sometimes told toughen up, shake it off. And the study author says it's essential for people to realize that, in his words, being bullied is not a harmless rite of passage. It has serious long-term consequences. Would you agree that there is still a culture, at least sometimes here in the United States, that says, oh, just suck it up?
You know what? You hit on it, and that bullying is a cultural phenomenon, especially our inability or unwillingness to address it, because many people feel, and I've said this on this air many times, that bullying is a rite of passage. It's a part of growing up, it's a part of developing, and it makes you stronger, especially if you're a boy. But this research shows that bullying can be deadly. It can increase anxiety, depression, lead to self-harm and suicide, and nobody should want that.
Yeah, and in addition, we've seen earlier studies that bully victims suffer even physical effects. They have increased inflammation in their bodies, and they have less success in the workplace. So how do we stop it?
Well, you talk about things like building confident kids. Parents have to allow their kids to be industrious, to be autonomous, let them do their own thing. By doing that, they develop their own character, their own sense of self. They learn to advocate on their own behalf. They learn to draw boundaries and to say to a kid or another peer, this is not fun, this is not a good thing, I will not allow you to do this. The other thing that's very important is the research shows this, and that is only about 1 to 3% of children who are bullied actually tell an adult. So we need more kids to tell us when they're being bullied.
Yeah. Moving on now to another topic on everyone's minds, the unrest in Baltimore. What are your thoughts as a psychologist about what's happening there and, in fact, across the country?
Well, you know, as Dr. King once said, a riot is the language of the unheard. I'm not condoning it, but what's happening is there are sociological root causes to why we see some of these issues in places like Baltimore, and before that Ferguson, and New York seems to be involved in all of this. And that is that people feel like they don't have a voice. They feel powerless. They feel disenfranchised politically, socially, economically. If you look at Baltimore, there's some data that's come out today that says that they have a very high unemployment rate for males, almost 40%. The schools aren't as good as they could be. There's violence in the streets. We have problems getting affordable housing. There's fatherlessness. So what they do as a way to talk about that, and I'm not saying it's appropriate, is they riot, they protest, they make a ruckus, they want to be heard. They're saying, look, we're suffering, we have problems, we want you to listen, and we need your help.
Yeah, hard to see how looting a drugstore is going to solve any of those problems. But all right, Dr. Chuck Williams, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.